Hello guys, and welcome to a new WARNO video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have for you a 3 versus 3 on Danger Hills, and in this one I'm going to be using the 2nd Panzergrenadier Division. I'm joined by Danny and Yagsos on my team who are also using the 2nd Panzergren, and then on the opposing team we have Q2521, Zagskrag, and I am a Cat Girl, who are going to be using the 79th Guards Tank Division, the 7th Panzer Division, and the 4th Mordschützen Division, respectively. Ku, of course, being one of the best players in Steel Division, and in WARNO, he's definitely already made a name for himself in WARNO as well. So, yeah, going to be fun to play against him. It is always fun to play against Ku in team games, so I do really enjoy it because he does put up a great fight. But yeah, today, the reason I wanted to bring this to you was because it was a very interesting experiment of a game, which I was going to try something, and I'll explain it to you guys. So, going into this game, I was just wanting to try out the 2nd Panzergren. That's pretty much it. I played it on stream, and then I realized something. I realized that I had the Fallschirmjäger leader, and the Fallschirmjäger leader can forward deploy, just like the Fallschirmjäger can and other recon units. So I thought to myself, there's a contested sector on this right hand side that allows you to bring in reinforcements. So what happens if I forward deploy my Fallschirmjäger leader, capture India, bring in reinforcements here really early on, and then just, you know, get an instant advantage over the enemy side of the sector, and then I would have to obviously clean out the enemy command and carry on from there. But either way, this gives me a massive head start potentially, and means that I don't have to bring in all my troops back here. I'll have a huge advantage when I bring in my troops up here. So that was the plan. I put down my Fallschirmjägerführer right at the front. I picked the shortest road to the sector so that I could get there, unload as quickly as possible in order to capture the sector. So that's what we're going with here. And then behind that, I've got 4 units of Fallschirmjäger that are going to be backing me up, with a Scorpion, 2 Scorpions, and the Jäger Aufklärer on that side, and then I've also got a Jäger Aufklärer and a Scorpion on this side that I'll be going into this tree line. And yeah, the idea is to hopefully contest the spawn road, which I'm going to have to try and defend as best as I can, and then bring in as much as I can, as quickly as I can, before my opponent gets a command in here to stop me. Because it's pretty likely that my opponent will also bring in a command to contest the sector, because it's super important that you don't let your opponent have this spawn road. Otherwise, things can get pretty nasty, because the closer you are to an enemy spawn road, the harder it is to like push into it, basically, because all my income's going to be coming in here, and then I'm just going to be, you know, pushing out rapidly. It does get to a point, though, actually, where if you are too close, or if you get very close to the spawn road, that you can actually camp the spawn road if you can get infantry close enough. So there is that as well. But yeah, Danny here going with a similar sort of start. He's got the Fallschirmjäger at the front with the Jäger Aufklärer and stuff. And I feel like this kind of layout where you have all these recon units further up, it's kind of got to be changed, I think, at some point. The balance of the game is a little bit odd in that, you know, basically a lot of players, especially on a higher level, just deploy loads of recon infantry at the start and nothing else, and then bring everything in later. Like, getting map position is so important in this game, and also like Steel Division 2, for example, that of course people are going to deploy as much as they can further up early on, because it just gives you such an advantage if you can dominate that position. Of particularly in this case, Fallschirmjäger allow you to do that because they're decently strong infantry to have at the start of the game. They're actually kind of weaker, I think, than the Jäger Aufklärer, but they do come in at 3 vets, so that is helpful. But early on, I do notice that he's already got infantry up here. So Ku is going to be my opponent. He's got the BRMs, and he's also got, I assume, Razvedka. But my Fallschirmjägerführer are already here, and we managed to capture the sector. So what I'm going to do immediately is bring in the Leopard 2A3s. I've only seen Razvedka move into here so far. So that's what I'm going to be fighting with the Fallschirmjägers, but look what happens. I bring in 2 Gepards, I bring in 2 Leopards, and there's a Razvedka unit behind me. This is like worst case scenario right now. Q obviously prepared for this, somewhat. And my Gepards Managed to kill the Razvedka, but they're both on 1 health, which means that these BMP2s really don't have to do much to kill them off. And down goes one Gepard. And the second one soon to follow. So I lose both my Gepards and the Leopard 2A3 to the side shots of the Razvedka. And it's absolute disaster at the start of the game. Q just way too on point with that. And as soon as I realized I was up against Q, I was like, I really shouldn't have tried this on this side, because he is exactly the player who would know how to deal with this. And yeah, he just obviously focused down both of those Gepards, and if I'd managed to keep those Gepards up, this would have been a disaster for him, because I would have had the Gepards really close early on. The Gepards, if they weren't so low on health due to being shot at by the Razvedka, would have been able to hit his infantry from a distance before his armor arrived in good time. So yeah, I would have been in a really strong position, and I still am kind of in a strong position because I have my Leopard 2A3 so far up, but yeah, that's a lot of points to lose early on. That's like 265 for the Leopard 2A3 and then both my Gepards, and the Gepards are already in short supply as well. He's managed to get the BMP2s here onto the Fallschirmjäger and Jäger after. I'm going to turn them 160 and do a runner, because that is not a nice place for my Fallschirmjäger to be. Scorpion's trying to move up here and engage some of this armor, but my Fallschirmjäger is moving through at the moment. Fallschirmjäger is actually really, really good with this Panzerfaust 3 for taking care of a lot of this armor, so that's what I'm trying to do at the moment. And I'm bringing my Leopard 2A3 across here, also to engage while I'm moving the Jäger Aufklärer and the Scorpion up on the left-hand side. So, yeah, there we go. Unfortunately, my Scorpions, they both go down. The RPGs come out of the tree line there and kill off them. Now it's up to my Fallschirmjäger to really make a difference, and my Leopard 2A3 is trying to hunt down some of the armor that's in the tree line here. So I'm going to be popping each of these BMP2s one by one, and that's going to allow my Jäger Aufklärer to move across in the open, but I do end up losing one of my Fallschirmjäger as Q's infantry and mainline forces have now arrived. So he's managed to get set up here now, which is going to mean it's going to be pretty difficult for me to push out if I'm not, completely controlling the sector. So the idea behind this initial push was to get enough forces that I could then force my way through this tree line very, very fast to kill the enemy leader, so that then I can bring in even more troops on this side. And I think the main problem that I had was that I was on the wrong side of the map for this. If I was on the other side of the map, and I was in the same position as Q, then he got Razvedka in here really early. He even got Razvedka in here. So he could have protected the spawn way better than I could. And so it would have worked out way better, because I would have brought in 2 Leopards on the hill, I would have had the Gepards on the hill, and then they would have had a much better time pushing into this side of the sector from the high ground. So yeah, either way, bring in another Leopard 2A3, that's on its way now. Currently just trying to deal with the Razvedka in the tree line there. And I've still got these Fallschirmjäger alive. I've managed to keep them on the edge there. The Jäger Aufklärer managed to get across, so they're now engaging the Motorstrake here. And the Jäger Aufklärer over here also manages to get the Motorstrake. But what you might have saw just there was my Leopard 2A3 went down. It took a side shot from a T80 BV, I believe it was, in the tree line, so that's pretty rough. But my team's doing okay. We've managed to get a +2 advantage. Jagdsource has pushed Zagskrag out of this sector for the time being, and so that's not being contested, and we're getting that +2. So now with my Leopard 2A3 going down, my infantry is very exposed. And I'm going to be moving up my Leopard 2A3 to engage the T80 BV in order to give them a bit more cover and try and save that infantry squad, but it's a bit too late for that, unfortunately. So PLRPO going to get the better of the Jäger Aufklärer with the help of the Napalm, the BTR 60PB coming in there to help finishing things off as well. Here comes the F4F. This F4F actually has really kind of cool camo. Unfortunately, you might see the bombs went off there, but only 2 bombs actually went off in the end. And that was because I think I accidentally evac'd it just before it dropped its bombs, or all of its bombs, so it didn't really drop its full payload. But I'm in a bad position here. Leopard 2A3 getting caught out by the BV. because there's a second one there, and I didn't realise there was a second one, but Q catching me out with that, and now I'm in a pretty shocking position. So, how do I deal with this? Well, I came up with this crazy plan that maybe, just maybe, if I move my Fallschirmjägerführer out of the thing on purpose, that he would end up capturing the entire sector of India. Now you're probably thinking, why would you do that? Well, it would give him access to the spawn road. And you're thinking, well, you know, you're giving him +2 points, you're giving him the spawn road close. Didn't you just say that that would be a great advantage? Well, yes, but not if I had 2 units ready to ambush. So now what I'm trying to do is get these Jägeraufklärer into a position where I can let him have the sector, he'll bring in units to reinforce here, but then I instantly kill them, just like he did to me at the start of the game. And then I would get back some of the points that I've lost, because I've already lost 3 2A3s at this point. I've lost 1 on the hill, we've lost 1 in the open, and we've lost 1 close up. So yeah, I'm at a massive disadvantage, and against Ku, who's as good of a player as he is, this is a scary place to be. My Jägeraufklärer have now gone down. I've completely lost control in the center here. But F4F is on its way again, so I'm just looking for the bombing strike here onto the enemy tank to see if I can kill that potentially. So yeah, I am bringing up some Milan squads. My Fallschirmjägerführer has finally moved out of the sector, so I'm going to be letting him capture that. The Milan 2s are basically just here to cover off against the open, against the armor. So there we go. He can now bring in enemy, the enemy can now bring in forces. So I'm just waiting to see if he brings anything in, or if maybe he's too smart for this, because Ku is a very good player. And well, he brings a couple of squads. BMP2. I managed to kill the BMP2 before it unloads one of its Mudstrokey squads, I think. Actually no, maybe not, because they're both there. But I killed both the BMP2s very quickly. These BTR-60s are still hanging about. They're just in range of my Panzerfaust, so I'm able to shoot them. And we're currently mowing down the Mudstrok in the open. Now, unfortunately, it's just a little bit too much in terms of vehicles here. And I'm going to have to fall back. So both of these get stunned. Q's going to charge him down with the BTRs. Get nice and close so that he has decent accuracy. And yeah, my plan is foiled. And I'm pretty sure Q saw it coming. I managed to get the Fallschirmjägerführer back in there, you know, to stop any more reinforcements from joining the fray. Because ultimately what I could do is control the amount of units that come in on this reinforcement point by just moving back in and out. But yeah, unfortunately my F4F doesn't bomb because of the smoke. So I missed that opportunity. And yeah, well, Q has foiled me twice. But my team's doing very well. So Danny's moving into Charlie. He's putting pressure onto this +3. We've fully captured Echo now, so that's +5. So between Danny and Jagsos, they're doing a great job, and I'm just having a real bad time against Q right now. F4F also getting shot down by Q's MiG. That was really unlucky because this MiG has like 50% accuracy or something, and this thing has like 30% ECM, and so it's going to probably hit 1 out of 4 missiles, right, roughly, or it should if RNG, you know, is balanced. But alas, RNG is always against me, and I lose the F4F there. I also end up letting my Milan 2 squad get shot in the open, and you can just see how badly things are going for me right now. But the main reason that I wanted to show this game was just due to the Fallschirmjäger leader being able to forward deploy, which I think is questionable. I don't know if it's a good thing for the game, because there are going to be certain maps where there are these sectors that are contested that you can bring in reinforcements, and if you could get one in there really, really fast, it could really swing that hard. So I'm not sure if that would be good, especially against decks that don't have the same sort of capability. So I think the only one that can also do this currently is the 4th Mudschützen division on the pack side. So if you ended up in like a 1v1 situation on a map which had a contested sector with a spawn in the middle, this could be a real big deal. So I'm not sure if I'm a complete fan of it. And then the other thing, obviously, that happened throughout the game was me trying to trick Ku into bringing in reinforcements here and then ambushing them. But joke's on me, I'm pretty sure he saw that coming. So yeah, things didn't go so great. Maybe if I had a couple Fallschirmjäger there, it would have been better, because the Panzerfaust 3 is better than the Panzerfaust 44 that the Jägeraufklärer have. And therefore I would have been able to kill the vehicles faster, and that way the infantry would have just been unsupported and died. But alas, it didn't work out that way, so I ended up in a pretty bad spot. And fortunately, Ku wasn't being terribly aggressive just yet, and you can see his BRM here moves forwards and just gets popped by an HGM, so that's going to discourage him from pushing forwards, because the amount of HGMs I have is quite substantial. You know, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, I had 4, 1 died. HGM squads. Fallschirmjäger's going to start to get RT'd, so we're going to have to run them away. And now, yeah, Ku's brought in his RT. Main reason for him to bring in RT there is to hit these HGM squads when he's using fire, probably. But he is also using recon in this case to spot the Milan 2 on the edge of the tree line there as well. So getting direct shots in with his tanks. I thought it would be a good idea for me, instead of focusing on pushing across the open, particularly against the 79th, which does have T-80Us. It would be better for me to push up on this left side with infantry, so that was what I was starting to do there. I've also brought in a BO-105 on the right hand side, because Ku is a good player. He's likely to try and maybe sneak something down the side of the map, so I'm going to be placing the helicopter there. But now, with all of this infantry moving forwards, I think his plan with the infantry was to reveal the location of the Milan squads. But I do have the Gepards, and the Gepards are really good at slicing down infantry when they're not in rocket range or, you know, RPG range. So I moved it forwards. The first HGM from the BMP2 hits the mark, so Gepards goes down. But I do have a second one, and that's going to be coming in to stop these Motorstrauchi from making too much more ground. Unfortunately, T-80BV does get the better of my Milan squad. My Milans weren't really doing that well in this battle. They didn't kill much at all. Like, they do have a like 50% accuracy, so you always like flipping a coin every time you fire one. And in this case, like, when you do hit, you do some decent damage. The F4F does come in. We managed to get that out. Another Milan 2 squad goes down without getting a kill. Tornado coming in with the cluster munition does actually kill one of the BVs, so that's good. My Leopard 1A5s might have a chance against the T-80s. But yeah, infantry pushing up on this left-hand side is my main play right now. Something I'm relying on, and I've got the Milans coming up now with a couple of Leopards to support that push. And as long as I'm pushing here, I don't think that Ku's really able to push too hard across the open, but I do definitely need some infantry here to help kill his infantry in the open should he decide to do that again. But yeah, it's currently a +5 for our team, and honestly, it's over. It is over as a team, but Ku gave me a bloody nose, let's just put it that way. Gepard here also going to be getting hit by an enemy HGM, and that's down to 1 health. I do have supply in here to fix this up a little bit, but yeah, things just weren't going good for me, except on this left hand side. I mean, I got a really good infantry engagement going, and with the armor coming up behind, that would have been pretty decent. But at the end there, 985 kills to 2,140 losses. My unorthodox strategies, unfortunately, are not paying off. I do still think, and I'm convinced, that the forward deployed leaders is kind of a bad idea. Especially considering, like, even if you're not capturing sectors with it, buffing your already forward deployed recon is going to be really nasty. Like, making those Jägeraufklärer squads like super scary at the beginning, that's going to be yeah, then that would be pretty rough to deal with on its own, let alone the ability to capture a forward deployed sector. Yeah, anyway, Leopards did poorly. I lost 2 Gepards on the spawn. It's a lot of points to lose early on, and that's pretty much all of these losses. Yeah. it was fun to try, but against Q, probably not the best opponent to try and trick with the interesting strategies that I tried to use, particularly with the jumping out of the sector and going back in there to try and ambush some reinforcements. It was a fun game, and I wanted to show it to you guys. I don't really care if I win or lose most of the time, and this was just an interesting discussion that I wanted to have with you guys. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully you appreciated that fun back and forth between me and Q, trying to work out if I could trip him up. And alas, I could not. That's it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.